Amaru, make it fire. Yeah, me no understand why you not here with me. Let me take it over for you, girl. You've been out searching the wrong place. On your mind, only place that I wanna be.
I tell you people, this is how we do it on this channel. I tell you people. Come on. This is how we do it. Yes. I tell you, follow us on this channel. ISTV. Back again. Today's Monday, people. The dawn in the building. I swear that I'm not here alone. Kunle is here looking at me. He's getting ready. He's telling me I am ready. Your media is also in the building. Robbie also in the building. Full force this morning. Anywhere you're watching from, good day, people. This is Intercontinental Sports TV. Yes. All right. Premier League managers halftime report card. This is what we're going to talk about today. I am ready. The report card is the A, B, C, D, F, F9 parallel. We are going to talk about those managers. Some managers already in the mud. I won't mention their names right now. The FA Cup preview. Arsenal out. Chelsea nowhere to be found. Then also let's talk about our great man, the great guy, the top guy, Victor OSIMHEN of Nigeria. Doing, kicking it, making it beautiful game, scoring fantastic goal. The guy should be a Manchester United player. Next season, I got the money. I was gonna bring him in. I'm ready. Are you guys ready? Talk to me. Shaya, you ready? What's going on, bro? You're welcome to the show.
Yeah, they're done. Good evening. Good evening from here. It's actually evening here in Ibadan, Nigeria. So looking forward to the show. It's always nice to talk football.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't have the Premier League over the weekend, we had other European leagues and we had the FA Cup. And I think Arsenal actually, in my opinion, they impressed even more than Man City. In Italy, Napoli, buoyed by OSIMHEN, they are now 13 points clear of second place in Serie A. So it seems like they will end their 33-year wait for a Serie A title. So in Germany, Bayern keep dropping points. In Spain, Barca opened the, I think, 5 points over Real Madrid. So really interesting things over the weekend, even though there was no Premier League action.
Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome to the show. That's your media. You're welcome to the show. All right. Again, this man, that's it they call Oshodi is ready. Oshodi, I don't know what's going on there. Do you have fuel? Do you have gas? Talk to me. Kunle, you're welcome to the show.
Good evening, the Dawn. Good evening, Shaya. Good evening, everyone. There's no fuel, there's no light, there's no naira.
Oh, good day.
There's no naira, there's no money outside.
But that's what they call Shanu. All right,
everywhere is scarcity.
I swear down. Let me bring this guy in. His name is Robbie. Robbie is a Manchester United fan. He's going to talk about what's going on, what is going on with Manchester. We are through in the FA Cup by beating that club called Readings. I'm not sure yet where that. Okay, let me bring Robbie in first. Robbie, what's going on? You're welcome to the show. Straight up.
Hey, Don. Good evening to you. Good evening to the guys in the house. I greet you, Shaye. I greet Kunle as well. It's good to be back here once again talking about sport. Just like Shaye rightly said, we saw a lot of action over the course of the weekend. Yes, we didn't see EPL action, but we saw some FA Cup action, and I will particularly pick on Liverpool's match against Brighton yesterday. Yes, the match was a very interesting game. Brighton won that game, but I think the talking point is what that man called Mitoma did to a certain Joe Gomez. And you begin to wonder what is going on. So I actually want the Liverpool guys in the house to tell us what exactly is going on. What kind of defending did Joe Gomez give us yesterday? Because I have never seen that kind of thing in my life. And of course, in the Italian Serie A, Napoli and Atalanta, because of our boys in those two leagues, or in those two teams, I beg your pardon, they are doing us very well. OSIMHEN has 14 goals. Ademola Lookman has 12 goals. And it just tells you that the competition is actually a healthy one, and it is better. I think this year or this season has been a breakthrough season for not just the players in Italy, but for Nigerian players all over the world. Azizat Oshoala yesterday also netted a hat-trick. And that is a second hat-trick in 3 days, or thereabout. Yes, in 3 days. 6 goals in 2 games. So it tells you that this year is a special year for Nigerian players. Is it Terra Murphy? Terra Murphy is underwent, what's the name? A medical. So he's set to leave Lorient for OGC Nice in the French League One. So a lot of good things going on for Nigerian players abroad. And of course, last but not the least, in Spain, Real Madrid dropped points yesterday. And of course, Barcelona, they've opened up a 5-point gap. And the biggest news today is the fact that both teams will be playing another El Clasico in the Copa del Rey, because the draws were conducted today, and Barcelona and Madrid will be facing off each other in the semi-finals of the Copa del Rey. So on that note, I say good evening to you guys.
All right, you're welcome once again. Robbie, I'm going to start with you. Premier League managers halftime report card. This season, we are saying we are already in the first half. We've done the first half, second half, but we want to go into the first half truly, properly. Let's look at those managers that have really done well, and the one that question has to be asked about their position in their respective clubs. But first, let's welcome all our viewers once again. This is Intercontinental Sport TV. Shayomi Dura is a Chelsea fan. Robbie is a Manchester United fan. And I believe Kunle is not going to change his club. His club is Manchester United. Yes, let's start with this coach first. The scorecard. I'm going to, I have my A, B, C, D. I'm going to start with you, Robbie. What do you think about this guy, Erik ten Hag of Manchester United?
Wow, so much to talk about Erik ten Hag. I think his resume before he came to United was a very impressive one. He won over 5 trophies for Ajax during his time there. And I believe that United, looking to rebuild after over 10 years of disaster since Sir Alex Ferguson left, actually needed a manager that, first and foremost, will buy into the long-term agenda or plan that the club has on ground. And I think Erik ten Hag was a manager, or is a manager, that actually ticked those boxes for United. And of course, his first game of the season, he lost his first game of the season by his scandalous scoreline. And I think the tongues were wagging as touching the kind of manager that United brought into the club. Yes, I saw that game. I saw the first 2 games of the season, and I'll tell you the truth, I was really not happy. I was not angry at the coach. I was just angry at the fact that after impressing so well in the preseason, that the players should have understood what was before them. And the teams that United lost to were actually the baby teams of the EPL. So I think on that note was why I was angry. I wasn't angry with the coach, but so far so good. I think he has been able to steady the ship from the 4th game of the season. The first 2 games of the season saw United in 20th position. And I'm telling you that nobody would have believed that United would be sitting in the 20th position. So, like I said, from the 4th game, he has been able to steady the ship. 1, he has been able to inculcate that spirit of hard work in the players, something we have not seen in a while. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer indulged players to some extent. I will not come out and say that he was a bad coach. No, he wasn't, but he indulged some players, and of course, that was one of the things that led to his downfall. Also, Erik ten Hag was able to bring back that discipline that we've not seen in players for a very long time. And of course, looking at the kind of players under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we had a Paul Pogba that was always going to the salon every week to get new hairstyles and everything. And you had a whole lot of very, very, very terrible players who are not putting in the shift that you require from a professional player that is paid some hefty amounts of money in foreign currency. So I think with Eric Ten Hag, he practically read the riot act to these players and he told them, see, more or less, I am here to do a job and I am here to also build my CV going forward into the future. Because I really don't, I believe that he will leave United to go and handle bigger teams than United. And on that note, I would say that he has done an amazing job. What's his name? Rashford, that all United fans were complaining about last year, is more or less like a phoenix. He has been in scintillating form. Anything he touches right now turns to gold. Even if he blows the ball a breeze, the ball will end at the back of the net. That is just to tell you how much this young man is doing. We signed Lisandro, and Eric Ten Hag has been able to raid his former side in Ajax to get us at least a couple of players that have been able to help United get to where they are right now. Fourth position on the log, I really did not see that coming. And just like Kunle will always say, that our expectations of the coach should not be that high. But I think so far so good. Eric Ten Hag has done an amazing job at the club. Yes, it is not a finished product. This is not the United we want to see. But I believe this is one of the right steps in the right direction for a club that has seen some very, very terrible days in the past 10 years. So for him, I think he has done a wonderful job.
All right. Are you going to rate him A, B, or C? So far, I'm talking about Eric Ten Hag. Robbie.
I will give him a B. I will not give him an A yet because I think there's room for improvement. So I'll give him a B.
A B to Eric Ten Hag. All right. Let's go to another. Prof, can you hear me? God, I'm putting you on the spot straight up. Prof, can you hear me? You are live on the show or your internet is. All right. I want to talk about Sheye. Sheye, media, please. What do you want to talk about Potter being a Chelsea fan? What can you say about him? Sheye, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Don.
Yeah. All right. What's the scorecard?
Well, the short answer is I'll give him a D.
A D.
Wow. And to be fair, I should call him some slack because he came into the club that was more or less in transition. Potter is someone who is a project manager. When you appoint him, you don't expect instant results. So in fairness, the current indifferent form is somewhat understandable. And like Prof would always say, the injuries Chelsea have had in the last few months have also not helped. So I'll give him a D. Of course, I would still say that he has done his best to adapt to the current situation. He tries to find solutions. Early doors, Chelsea they went on a pretty impressive winning run, but I think the injuries they had a part to play in what happened before the World Cup, where Chelsea were unable to win matches. They lost about 4 or 5 games on the trot. And post World Cup, with Reece James back, it seemed like they were going to find their feet again. But unfortunately, Reece James got injured against Bournemouth on his return, and since then it's been helter skelter. They've been trying to find other solutions. In recent weeks, they've actually played Trevor Chalobah at right back because currently, as Liqueta has not been pulling up trees, playing in that position. So, but right now, Reece James is back in training. He might even return on Friday against Fulham. So, with the signings they've brought in, Chelsea's results are expected to improve in the coming weeks. So, but so far so good. I don't think he has done that well. So I'll give him a D.
A D. Whoops. And Sheye, you know, this your club, as in, what do you want to say about this transfers, the signing here and there? What's your take on this?
Well, I think you can look at it from 2 different angles. On the one hand, you can look at it from the negative angle and say they are splurging so much money. Although we already know that they are giving players really long contracts to amortize over the period of their contract, so they don't pay those transfer fees, or it doesn't reflect on their books at once. It reflects over the cost of the player's contract. So that's why they are offering those long extended deals. So you can say it's something that most clubs don't do. So there has to be a reason for clubs not going in that direction. You can also say that they are bringing so many players in their attacking positions, which is more or less stockpiling talent. Um, in a way, that poses questions for Potter, because you have to wonder how he fits all of them into a tactical
Yeah.
plan. That will be a challenge for Potter. So that's up to him. He's the coach. He sees them every day in training. So that's something he has to find a way around, because even after the game against Crystal Palace, he made mention that Chelsea actually have a really large and bloated squad. So obviously, it also seems like he also sees potential issues coming up in that regard. Then the positive side, even though Chelsea might seem to be stockpiling talent, they are also bringing in players that fans have wanted for a while. Chelsea have lacked direct wingers for a really long period. That's why you've seen at times Mason Mount playing on the flanks. Sometimes you see Gallagher even playing on the flanks, because Chelsea don't have natural wingers. They have forward players who are either maybe natural number 10s, or they want to play in central midfield. They are free eights in midfield. So they brought in Modric, hijacking the Arsenal deal. They've also brought in Madueke. So those players fit the profile that Chelsea have needed for a while. Although with Madueke, I have doubts about his injury proneness. Yeah, he has missed so many games in the last 2 or 3 seasons. So and Chelsea have also had issues with injuries. So it just seems like that's a bad fit, because a club that has had issues with injuries have brought in an injury-prone player. That seems to be an accident waiting to happen. So, but let's see how it goes. And it seems they are likely to close out deal for Enzo Fernandez, a player that
Yeah.
will obviously upgrade Chelsea in the midfield. So they are
Mm.
bringing in the right profiles, although obviously you might have issues with the transfer fees being paid. But I want to believe the club have checked their books, and these deals are maybe they won't make them fall foul of financial fair play. So I guess we'll see over the coming months or years whether Chelsea have made the right deals.
All right, all right. Thank you so much. Kunle, you are going to talk about Mikel Arteta. So far this season, Mikel Arteta of Arsenal, there's a lot to talk about. I mean, what exactly are you going to talk about Mikel Arteta? What is his scorecard this season so far?
Mikel Arteta has been a Mikel Arteta has been a phenomenal figure at Arsenal. Um, from the very moment he walked in, I don't know if maybe people didn't pay attention, but I know in his first he came in, was in on mid-season. Okay, no, he didn't come in mid-season, but yeah, he was able to win the FA Cup.
FA
Okay,
Cup.
he first won the Community Shield, then he won the FA Cup, and but after that things were rocky. There were a lot of things that were here and there, and he was under pressure. But anybody who was paying attention would know that this man was actually up to something.
Mm.
The problem was that they were not, fans as they're not patient. Like Sheyomi Diora said about Graham Potter. Graham Potter is not an instant coach person, right? Because when you look at the work he did in Brighton, which is still bearing fruit even after he has left, you could clearly tell that uh, he didn't do it overnight, right? And that's the same thing that was going to happen in Chelsea. So the case of Potter, I'm sorry, of Arteta, it was the same thing. And it is no surprise that Arsenal have reached where they are today, because if you look at them last season, um, they were this close to making the top four. I think the top four was theirs to take, but
Yeah.
sadly they capitulated with barely I think they capitulated with about less than 10 games to go they capitulated. And I know people come and they'll be like, oh, it was because of party, it was because of one person getting injured and all of that, you know. But for me, this season, it is clear that Arsenal took off from where they left off last season. That's why I say that I am not actually surprised that they are the top of the table, because that's why I said if you pay attention, yeah, people would say, oh, Liverpool were not themselves, Chelsea were not themselves, and all of that. But let's be frank, who cares? No, see, nobody will send you at the end of the day, because you are supposed to get results no matter what.
Yeah.
And if that is the case because Chelsea and this, then good luck to Arsenal, because I'm sure this is not the first time that Chelsea are having injury problems or Liverpool are having injury problems that Arsenal did not take advantage of. But they are there now, so that means they are good. So you can't just be there all of a sudden. You have to be good to be at the top of the table. So hats off to Arteta. The truth is, Arsenal are actually going to get better, because now you can see that even with their transfers, they are not going for all these big name signings like when they were going for Aubameyang. They are going for young, proven talent, and it shows that with time, these are people that Ateta can control. And I really see Arsenal getting stronger and stronger. So for me here, I'm giving Arsenal an A. Even I'm sorry, Ateta an A. Even though previously when I was giving Arsenal a scorecard, I was giving Arsenal a B. Ironic, right? But I would give Ateta an A then.
In A, Arteta and A. Let me show you to the screen, and I'm okay, not
Why
A plus.
should Chelsea announce Enzo? Who said he's coming?
No. In fact, Sheye, warn your brother, Prof, to be calming down. To be calming down.
Who says Enzo is coming?
Yeah, Enzo is
Who
coming.
says Enzo is coming? If
Tell your
Benfica
brother to
reject-
calm down.
if
Prof,
Benfica
calm
reject-
down. Anywhere you're watching from, calm down. Nothing they happen.
Oh my god.
All right. Yeah, Arteta and A. Arteta has done incredibly well. Says Arteta should be an A. He has done incredibly well. That's a comment from Prof. Please drop your comment if you agree. If it's A for Arteta, drop your comment and we're going to read it loud. This is Intercontinental Sport TV, and you're all welcome into this community. Please subscribe to the channel if you are watching this for the first time. Over to you, Robbie, and we are going to talk about this main man, Pep Guardiola. What do you think?
Well, I think for Pep, Pep is not new to the EPL. Pep more or less has practically broken records since he came into the EPL. Yes, his first 2 seasons he struggled, but ever since he had been able to get a firm footing, he has made Manchester City a force to reckon with. And I remember a famous quote from Sir Alex Ferguson that said, Manchester City are our noisy neighbors. And indeed, they are very, very, very noisy. The only trophy that has eluded this man so far is UEFA Champions League. Talk about any trophy in England, he has won it multiple times, and he has much more. He has more than the ability to win it once again. But I think the conundrum right here is how this season has been going so far for him. One of the latest news in the camp of Manchester City is João Cancelo is said to be on his way to Bayern Munich. And personally, I really don't think that is a good one for Manchester City, because João Cancelo has been an important player for the team. He has been wonderful since he left the Italian Serie A and came to England. And of course, I think the coach knows best. And if you actually notice, that was more or less what we've been talking about on the group since this afternoon, where Kunle had to even come into the conversation. And I was asking Prof, you are out there brandishing João Cancelo as not been a senior player, and since he's not taken to the instruction of the coach, he should leave the team. And my question is simple: if you are brandishing this player for him not being able to live up to the expectation of the coach, how come your stand as starting ETH and Ronaldo is not following the same narrative? And what is Prof saying? He said João Cancelo and Ronaldo are not the same player. And the whole thing boils down to this same thing. no matter how big you are as a player, no matter how small you are as a player, you will always play under a manager. No matter how big, how old, how talented you are, you will always play under a manager. For Pep Guardiola, he has done well over the years, but I think the threat that Arsenal poses right now is more or less one of the biggest threats he has faced since he actually came into the EPL. Nobody can deny the fact that Arsenal are not smoking. Arsenal are in hot form right now. And we've seen with Manchester City have much more than enough capabilities to overturn a 5-point deficit. We've seen them do it over the course of the year. Last year, when they were not playing so good, they won over 13 games on the trot towards getting the EPL title last season. Over 13 games. And they were just sneaking in the wins. I remember one of the wins they got last year against Wolves. That game ended 1-0, and the goal came from the penalty spot. So it tells you that Pep Guardiola is just an exceptional manager. Yes, with Erling Haaland, I think he has been, how do I put it now? His tactics over the years have changed a little bit, because last year we saw almost every player in the team chipping a goal or two. But this season, Erling Haaland has been the one that has come up with most of the goals that Manchester City have scored so far as a team, be it in the Champions League, be it in the English Premier League as it is. So I think that is just what people are just trying to see at this point in time, to see how he can manage the inclusion of a direct striker, more or less a point man in his team. So far, so good. He has been able to do a good job. Yes, it seems that like as if the defenders in England seems to know what to do to Erling Haaland to stop him from scoring. Cut away his supply lines, and that player becomes a -1 on the pitch. But as it is, I trust that Pep Guardiola will be able to turn things around in the second half of this season as he tries to bridge that gap between Man City and Arsenal. So for Pep Guardiola, like I said, he needs no introduction, and the works of his hand speaks for him till this very moment. So far, I would give Pep, I'll give him a B going forward as well.
A B. Please smash the like on the video. If you agree with Robbie, I know his address. I mean, if you disagree with Robbie, I know his address. You can go and fight it there. It says B. If you have any contrary comments, you can drop it. You can tell us. So for the Pep is B. So we'll move on to the next one. And this guy, Shaya, you are going to talk about Conte. What's the scorecard this season so far in the first half?
Yeah, I am actually a Conte stan. I like him a lot. I feel he's someone who his teams tend to have an identity. And I haven't seen the work he did in the last 6 months of last season. I thought they would build on what he did to make Spurs end in the top 4 at the back end of last season. But I've been really disappointed in how they are fared, because in the summer they brought in players to actually add depth to their squad, and it wasn't just bodies. They brought in real quality on paper. Bringing in the likes of Perisic, the likes of Bissouma, who we had seen for several years at Brighton, and they also brought in Richarlison, a player who, to be fair, I have reservations about, but I haven't seen how he fared with Everton, where he more or less carried them towards safety last season. I just felt they had brought in players who had the quality to add to what Spurs already had in the likes of Harry Kane and Son Heung-min, and also Kulusevski. But I just feel I've been really underwhelmed by how they have played so far this season. Apart from how they are fared defensively, they are conceding goals at an alarming rate, which is unlike a Conte side.
Yeah.
And although you can put some mitigating factors for how they've actually fared this season, because they've had to rely so much on Harry Kane, because Kulusevski has had injury problems, and Son Heung-min has also been largely underwhelming. I know he scored at the weekend, but I feel in general he has only scored 3 times in the league.
Very
season.
Poor. Very poor.
Which is unlike him. He's someone who tends to outperform his expected numbers. But so far this season, he has really underwhelmed. Having more or less outperformed for about 6 to 7 years in succession. So I guess it was due a bad season. So in general, I feel sports can be doing much better. Of course, if they pick up their form, they can still end in top four. But seeing the form of the sides above them, that seems unlikely at the moment. For them to end in top four, they will need the likes of Son to pick up his form. They will need Richarlison to start scoring goals in the league, and they will need someone like Danjuma, who has just been brought in on loan for a few months to also pick up the pace quickly. So, and they need to stop conceding goals because that's like the foundation for any country side. So all in all, I've been underwhelmed. Do we have C minus or is it just C and D?
Just C and D.
Okay, I'll give him a C. Just I guess that's average. Yeah.
All right, say C. Shemi Diora says C for Engineer Conte of Tottenham Hotspur. I know his address. Don't worry, people. Just smash the like on the video. If you have any contrary, if you say he's never a C, just drop your comment. Over to you, Robbie, on this one. His name is Brendan Rodgers. What do you want to talk about, Brendan Rodgers? So far, so good. Is he F9 parallel or what?
I think this is one of the managers that will get a shortest or a short review from me. Brendan Rodgers has been abysmal with Leicester City this season. Let's not forget, at the point in time, this was more or less the Cinderella Leicester City that blew us off our feet and captured the English Premier League title some years ago. And of course, it was the magician, talking about Claudio Ranieri, that did the job for Leicester City. Let's not forget that the season before they won the league, they were also battling with relegation. And to say Brendan Rodgers that did very, very well in the Scottish League, come into the English Premier League. Yes, he did well, I think, in his first couple of seasons with Leicester City, but this season has been terrible. And the beginning of their woes started from the transfer window, where they were more or less the only team in the English Premier League that did not almost sign a single player. The signings they did came towards almost, I think, about a day or two towards when the transfer window was going to close. That was the summer transfer window, and that is just to tell you how terrible the team had conducted their business. They let their inspirational captain Peter Schmeichel leave the club, and I don't know where they got this so-called goalkeeper that they have right now. I don't know where they got him from. Even the goalkeeper of Shooting Stars is not conceding goals at this alarming rate. So I think for Brendan Rodgers, he has not done an amazing job at the club. The club right now is battling relegation, and I fear for them that they might go down at the end of the season. For him, I think I'm just going to give him a D.
Whoa, Brendan Rodgers D. Wow. Well, because of our time, I want you to quickly talk about this Vieira, Sheye. Vieira, what are you going to? That's going to be the last manager we're going to talk about today because of our time. What are you going to give this guy, Vieira?
Well, yeah, I was impressed with what he did last season, where he was able to more or less revamp Crystal Palace's style from the really boring, humdrum approach under Roy Hodgson into something more or less resembling the possession-based style for the most part last season. But this year, I feel they have struggled somewhat to actually kick on. I feel he has, of course, I like Cheikh Doucouré at the base of their midfield. I feel he offers some dynamism, and he has the mobility to actually cover lots of ground. But I feel further forward, Vieira has struggled to find a right balance. Because we've seen several games where he has played the Fab Four of Michael Olise, Iberi Cheze, Wilf Zaha. The Fab Three rather, where but I don't think all three of them can actually fit in together in the lineup, and he has somewhat struggled to find a balance to that. But they seem to be ambling along. They seem to be in mid-table. I felt this year they could have actually ended in the top half of the table. And they are still there or thereabouts, to be honest. But I just feel the fact that he has struggled to kick on, I'll give him a C this season.
Wow.
So far,
all right. You are going to give him a C. Patrick Vieira goes dash with C. C, that's average this season. All right. Because of our time, we are going to switch over to this topic, FA Cup review. let's look at what we have right now. Man City knocked out Arsenal over the weekend. Man City won, Arsenal nil, and also lose to Leicester City 1-0. Likewise, Southampton were through, beating Blackpool. Brighton beat Liverpool silly. We're going to talk about that. And Manchester United also through with 3-1, and Tottenham Sport winning their own match as well, beating Preston. First of all, let's talk about this. Robbie, I want you to talk about the Brighton game. I'm sure you watched the game. So what's your take on the game? Brighton beating Liverpool.
I think if Brighton plays Liverpool every weekend between now and the end of the season, they will be comfortable in playing against Liverpool. I tell you, because that team right now, they are high. Like somebody who's taking cocaine, they are high on confidence, and there is no fear factor whatsoever about Liverpool as touching Liverpool anytime Brighton actually takes to the field against them. And I really want to commend the scouting team, the scouting network of Brighton.
I swear down,
yes.
They are too much. Wow. Robbie, talk to me. Can you hear me? Did I lose Robbie? Hello, Robbie. I think I lost him. All right, Kunle, can you talk about this game, Man City versus Arsenal?
What a boring game. Hello?
I can hear you.
Can you hear
boring
me?
game.
I said a very, very boring game. But I think it was to be expected because, I believe both teams are having both players on, they are having their attention on the very important Premier League fixture on February 15th. So it was expected that there were going to be a few changes here and there in the team, which we saw with Arsenal. But I think credit has to be given to Arsenal because, despite the fact that City kind of fielded a much stronger team than Arsenal, City were not really able to, they were not really able to threaten. They were not really able to threaten Arsenal like that. Arsenal actually took the game to City. And if anything, I think Arsenal should be very proud of their performance. And, I think should give them confidence going into that very important Premier League match on the 15th, that we can beat them, because this time around they are going to play that game at the Emirates. So, if anything, City can be happy that they qualified. But I think City should be scared of what Arsenal can do to them on February 15th.
Yes. Robbie, can you hear me back now?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you please finish up with the Brighton Liverpool?
Hello?
Okay, so let me go.
Sorry, did you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, Kunle, are you there? Sorry.
Yeah, Robbie, go ahead.
Okay, the thing is, the game against Brighton yesterday was a good game, but as it is, Liverpool really did not come to the party at all. They scored first through Harvey Elliott, but Brighton were able to rally back. A beautiful strike for Lamptey that took a bit of a deflection to more or less disturb Alisson in getting a hand to that one. But I think the talking point for everyone who saw that match was how this young man, this Japanese, Mitoma, has actually just almost made the Premier League his own. Has more or less made the Premier League his own. It has just been amazing. Oh, will you stop that?
Who are those people? Are they Chelsea fans? That's how they
Sorry,
behave.
please. I'm so sorry for. I'm so sorry
They
for
should
that.
be Chelsea.
So,
They should be Chelsea fans. They
so
should.
the thing is that young man is going to do great things for Brighton.
I
And
swear.
yesterday, he was the one that actually plunged that dagger into the heart of a lot of Liverpool fans because they thought they were going to get a replay. But Mitoma happened to Liverpool yesterday, and I think Brighton really, really did well. So far, in their past three meetings, Brighton have been able to win two of those games convincingly, and they drew 3-all with Liverpool. So it tells you that there's something about this team that makes them so comfortable playing Liverpool. Like I said, if you bring Liverpool next on the menu for them, Brighton will play Liverpool with no hassle. And
Yeah.
right now, they don't seem to be missing that man, Moses Caicedo, at any point in time. That is my submission.
All right. Let's move on to
Um,
the.
I would
Okay,
like
Kunle
to
wants to say
correct.
something.
Yeah, I would like to stress. Is it just maybe correct something? It's not just about Liverpool, even though we know they've beaten Liverpool twice. This Brighton team will beat anybody. Okay, they will beat even Manchester City. They will even beat Arsenal. You know why? They will only do that. See, the only way you can beat this Brighton is you have to outplay them. You see, you can't come to Brighton and not be at your best. If you are not at your best, this
Yeah.
Brighton is not the kind of team that you can have a slow start and then you think you will gather momentum. If you're having a slow start, you're only giving them an opportunity to get at you. And once they get at you, you're done for, because this is a team that plays possession based football. I mean, they will come at you and play at you. So you have to outplay them, otherwise they will beat you. So it's not just about Liverpool. We saw what they did to
Any
Manchester
team.
United.
Yeah.
Any team, if you don't play them well, they are going to beat you.
Yes, you are very true. Now let's move on to the next topic because of our time, and we want us to talk about this guy. Kunle, you are going to let me use it. What kind of word can I use? You remember this Yoruba word that says you are going to open the clothes from the masquerade. All right, you're going to talk about this guy, Victor OSIMHEN. Kunle, let's talk about Victor OSIMHEN. He plays for Napoli at the moment. The start of this guy this season has been phenomenal, and is on fire. Is on fire. Robbie, you're going to talk about him. Likewise, Sheye Omidiora. So we have just 3 minutes to talk about him respectively. Over to you, Kunle.
I think Victor Osimhen. Let me say, I don't want to really get too excited, but if
Hmm.
things are going, no, wait, and this is where I'm going at. Okay, if things are going the way it is for Victor Osimhen, that's why I said I don't want to get too excited, because when a player is in the spotlight and all of that, the tendency not to be able to handle it on the long run can come back and bite them,
Hmm.
and we are going to see something else. But if everything is going Victor Osimhen's way and he manages his image, I am sorry, but I am seeing a guy who is going to be greater than, no disrespect to him, he's going to be greater than the likes of Rashidi Yekini or any
Hmm.
other player Nigeria has had.
Hmm.
Trust. But that is why I put that clause. If things continue, because let's not forget, he's very young. He's 24, is he 23? You understand? But if things go the way it should be, and he could even be he could be one of the great. I mean, he might even surpass probably what's them Eto,
Eto, yeah.
the drug bars, the Roger Millers, and that's what's really scary, because he's finding himself in a very good environment
Yeah.
where his potential is coming out, where a coach that understands him, and those are the things you need to thrive. So that's why I said all that is left for him is not to allow all this attention get into his head. And
Hmm.
because we know Osimhen has attitude issues, and that's my own issue with him. Okay, apart from all these praise, Pundit is some kind of attitude.
God.
Yeah, those kind of things are distractions. You could say, oh, that's his attitude. But look, those kind of things can have a way of hunting you down. So I hope he outgrows those things, and things go well for him. If he does that, I mean, this guy is destined for the top.
I swear down.
Maybe even the world's best player in the near future. Trust me, I'm not joking.
All right, all right. Thank you so much, Kunle. About this guy, Victor Osimhen. I hope this guy could make it to Manchester United. Oh, we don't have any money. That club doesn't have money right now.
That would be better for Ten Hag. That would be
Yeah,
better for Ten Hag.
I tell you, he's a fantastic striker. Sheyomi Gerard, please talk about this guy, Victor, own brother. Sheye, what do you want to say about this guy?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Victor Osimhen, and I've just been impressed by his evolution since he moved to Napoli. In the first season, he was more or less a pressing monster. He tended to at times it was a one man pressing machine where he would just break away from the team's pressing approach and just try to do things by himself. But I think since Spalletti took charge at Napoli last season, he has more or less refined Victor Osimhen's game, even more than how he was at Lille and in his first year at Napoli. Early doors when in last year's preseason or the first preseason of Spalletti, he more or less told Osimhen to pick his moments to actually press as opposed to breaking away from the team's pressing structure. And I think the numbers actually showed that last season and also this season that Osimhen is pressing less and now he's pressing more with the team as opposed to doing things by himself. And I haven't seen how Spalletti actually worked wonders with strikers at his previous clubs. He got Totti playing as a false nine and still scoring goals. That was in the 2000s. When he worked with Edin Dzeko as well, Dzeko was banging in the goals for Roma. When he came to Inter, Mauro Icardi, before their relationship broke down, Icardi was banging in the goals as well. So I had high hopes when Spalletti actually took charge at Napoli. And in the first season, there were actually varying reports. There were weeks where Spalletti would praise him to high heaven, and there were weeks where he would criticize his game and say he needs to work on some other things. Second year, I think this has been even more impressive. I know he had the injury, I think earlier this year, in the season where he missed about 2 or 3 months. But he came back when he was actually out with injury. Raspadori and Giovanni Simeone were actually scoring goals intermittently. And at the time, it seemed like Raspadori in particular, he blended better with other attacking players at Napoli. At the time, I actually felt that Osimhen would struggle to get back into the team, but he returned, and he was like a man with a point to prove. And really, with his form since returning from injury, has been really impressive. And it looks like he's going to end top scorer, although Ademola Lookman seems to be pushing him close. So this will be an interesting tussle between both of them. But I've really been impressed with Osimhen's evolution. He's becoming more rounded. He can score any type of goal. Last night's goal against Roma was really impressive. He's someone who he needs service, obviously, but he can also work out spaces by himself and also score goals from nothing. So that's those are elements in his game that shows that he can be a really top striker. And I think he can really, right now, I would even say he's one of the top 5 strikers in Europe, and he's not number 5. He's probably in the top 3 even. So maybe only Erling Haaland is someone who I would say is better than him right now on current form. So really, he's playing some really top drawer stuff, and I think the sky is the limit for him.
All right. Robbie, what do you want to talk about this guy? Main guy, Victor Osimhen. What's your take on it?
For Victor Osimhen, like I said, it has been a breakout season for him. Not just for him, it has been a breakout season for Nigerian players. I deal with news every day, and you get to hear very wonderful things about Nigerian players. And I sent out a tweet. My tweet was simple, that hopefully what Nigerian players are doing across the world, most especially in Europe, for the men, for the women, that hopefully it will translate into the national team of this country. But unfortunately, we all know that this supplication of mine, more or less, is like as if you're pouring water into a basket. But for Osimhen, it has just been something of another dimension for him. Yes, he can get better, he can get stronger, he can get faster, he can be much more deadlier than he is right now. But I think so far so good. He has done so well for himself. He has done so well for his team. And like Sheye rightly said, Spalletti has done amazingly well with this young talent.
Yeah.
This was not the Osimhen we saw with Lille. This was not the Osimhen we saw with Napoli when he actually came to Italy. I remember it was early this season that he had a spat with the coach and one of his teammates, and the coach sent him out of the training ground. And there were rumors flying left, right, and center as touching how he was going to fare in this particular team. But he has come to show or to prove everybody that right now he's more or less the go-to man for this team. And I think the competition with Ademola Lookman will push him to the limit for us to see what he can do. But I think ultimately, I pray he wins the Golden Boot, and I pray that for Napoli as well to also clinch the Scudetto. So that is my thought as starting Victor Osimhen.
All right, people, let's move on to the African top players this week. 10 Africa top 10 players this week. Because of our time, we've spoken about Victor Osimhen is actually in the list. The first person we're going to look at is Folari Balogun, who is a Nigerian, also in England, scored in Reims 1-1 draw with PSG. Kunle, you watched the game?
Yeah, I saw
That
the
guy
yeah,
is
I saw
phenomenal.
the yeah, I saw the last few minutes, and I think one of the reasons was when I was watching, I watched Napoli's game outside. So there was a guy who played a game on PSG, like PSG to win. So
Ah!
you understand. So when he announced it, I now checked PSG score. I now said, let me see, what happened and all, and you know, and I saw that PSG were leading 1-0, and it wasn't long after that Balogun scored, and what a goal he scored!
What a goal. What a
This
goal.
guy is on loan from Arsenal
From
presently,
Arsenal, yeah.
and I don't know what's going to happen, but Mikel Arteta needs to. He has, I think Arteta has an option here, apart
Yeah.
from Nketiah, because this guy has 11 goals in League On this season. He's
Ah,
just 2 goals behind. Yeah, he's just 2 goals behind Mbappe. Mbappe has 13. So this guy
wow.
at scoring he's running for top goal scorer in the French league. So I think Arteta needs to pay very close attention to him.
All right, moving on to number 9 because of our time. Kelechi Iheanacho scored a goal in FA Cup fourth round win over Warsaw. And also moving on to 8, Victor Osimhen. We've spoken about him. He's on fire. He scored a beautiful goal win over Roma. Kunle, if you look at that shot, that
Yeah,
Osimhen out of
yeah, it
nowhere.
was.
I
Yeah,
mean, Sheye, that goal is like rocket.
no,
Voila!
no,
Ah,
the guy. I think no. You see, when it comes to sheer power, I don't think there's any forward. I'm sorry to say. I think Osimhen thumps any forward right now when it comes to power. That aggression, no,
aggression. Ah,
nah, he's got it. Like I know people will talk about Erling Haaland and all of that, but I
but
mean,
ah,
Osimhen is much stronger.
yeah.
Trust me, Osimhen is stronger, and I think it's really going to help, and I think it's really helping him a whole lot. So it's not
Absolutely.
surprise. So it's not surprising that you see him score those kind of audacious goals. He's got
Oh,
that power in him.
all right, let's move on to our great man also. Ademola Lookman is also a Nigerian. Ademola Lookman
Excuse me, sir. It's
score.
not Lukman. Lookman.
Lookman.
Yeah, yeah. You
Oh
can
my
see
God.
he's showing it from his. He's showing it from.
Lookman. All
Look at it,
right. Look
Lookman.
at
Yeah.
me, Ademi man. Scored a goal in Atlanta. 2-0 Serie A win over Sampdoria. This guy is also on fire. I think
Yeah.
next
So
week we're
he's
going to talk
chasing. He's
about.
chasing Osimhen. No.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him in details. I
Yeah.
think he's doing fine in Atlanta at the moment. Moving on
Yeah.
to number 6, his name is Dia Boalaye. Is also a Senegalese. Scored a goal and provided an assist in Salernitana with 2-1 win over Leeds. Be careful with this pronunciation. Don't take it easy. Salernitana.
Salernitana.
It's very
Wahala,
straightforward.
wahala. All right, moving on to number 5. This guy is from the DR Congo. It's also an English. Have you seen this guy before? Robbie, do you know about this guy?
This is my first encounter with him.
Okay.
I think for any young man, I think one thing I want to praise the French League One for and the Dutch Eredivisie as well as the German Bundesliga is how much they parade very young talents. If you actually study these leagues, you find out you see players 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And these players are more or less the mainstay of their team. They are not reserves. They are not bench warmers. They are more or less players who start week in, week out for their respective teams. So it tells you something about these teams. And that's why when you see English clubs buy players from the French league, and you hear the age of these players, you begin to wonder 24-year-old, 23-year-old, and he's playing. Or they buy players from the German Bundesliga. Look at the guy that Chelsea just bought. I'm trying to remember the boy's name. Look at how old that boy is.
Mukaila.
Oh, go away. So look at how old, look at how young that boy is. Vadior. Oh, sorry, I said Vadior, not Vadior. I'm trying to remember the boy's name. He said?
Modric.
No, not Modric. Modric is from Ukraine. The boy that Chelsea just bought from Lyon.
They bought so many players.
Okay, Badiashile and one other guy that will not be playing for Chelsea until next season. Yes, Malo Gusto. So look at how young these boys are. Look at how old Badiashile is. So it tells you what is going on in this respective league. So for this young man, Stevie, to be doing great things for his club Montpellier, and like I said, it tells you what youth does to this particular league. So I think it's a big one for him, and of course, we're hoping to see much more of him in the subsequent weeks.
All right, now number 4 this week is going to Chukwuemeka Obioma of Nigeria, who scored a brazen Enyimba 3-0 over Kwara United. I think Robbie's you know much about this NPFL. I'm sure you watched the game now.
No, I actually didn't watch the game because most of the games right now are not shown on TV. So they just pick a selected few that are shown on TV. Then for clubs who have streaming platforms, you can go online to watch those games. But I was much more concerned with, I was occupied. I won't say concerned. I was occupied with the Shooting Stars game yesterday because they played against El Kanemi Warriors of Maiduguri.
They lost?
They won. They won. Shooting Stars won yesterday. Yes, 3SC won their first maximum point of the season. And of course, it has been...
Was it an away game?
No, it was an home game. An home game at Lekon Salami Stadium yesterday. So,
wow.
Yes, but I actually followed this Enyimba's game against against Kwara United, and I'll tell you for a fact that Enyimba was very impressive in that game. One of Enyimba's former player in the person of a certain Dele Ayenuga, who plays for Kwara United, was in the lineup of Kwara United, and Enyimba honored him yesterday because he was one of the players that won Enyimba's Champions League crown as far back as 2004, 2005. So yesterday, yes, he was honored, but his team was also beaten. So, but for this player, I think he really did well. And of course, we'll be open to see what the MPFL brings to our table in subsequent weeks as well.
All right, moving on to number 3. His name is Nestri. Nestri of Morocco scored a brace in 3-0 win, Sevilla win over Elche. And number 2 for this week, because of our time, viewers, this guy is called Paul Onauchu. But this guy, if he comes to Nigeria, he doesn't perform so well, in my own opinion. Kunle, what do you feel about Paul?
It's simply because, you see, Onuachu is the kind of player that, for him to thrive, you have to play to his strengths, okay? And if you don't do that, it's going to be difficult. So, but then it becomes problematic because Onuachu is not the only striker. We have other options. You can see what OSIMHEN is doing. You can see what Lookman is doing. So it creates more problem for Onuachu. But you see him there at Genk. He has already scored, I think, 16 goals. If I am correct, let me check. Yes, he has scored 16 goals in 19 league games. So he even has more goals than OSIMHEN and even Lookman.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. His numbers are terrific. So they are simply playing to his strengths, and that's why he's scoring. So That's the only thing that can make him do well for Nigeria. But until then, I think he will keep succeeding at his club.
All right, number one for this week. Number one for this week goes to this guy. We'll be right back. All right, Kunle. We are going to pronounce this name because it's scary for me. With due respect.
Jean-Pierre Nsame.
All right, he's the number one for this week. Please go for it. Vote for it, Kunle. What do you want to
say? He plays for Young. This is the main striker for Young Boys. When people who don't know, I think Young Boys are the most successful club in Switzerland.
Switzerland, yes, Young Boys.
Successful club in Switzerland. Though I think at the moment they are not top of the table, if I'm not mistaken. But they still have a guy in Nsame who gets the goals, and this hat trick that he scored of his took him to 12 goals in the Swiss Super League in 17 games. So it goes to tell you how prolific he is as a striker, and I know he has made entries in this African top 10 before, and trust me, you'll definitely be seeing more entries from him because he's a goal machine.
All right. So this is how far we can go today, and I want to tell you guys, it's been fantastic moments. Shayomi Dura, thanks for showing up. It is what it is. This is how far we can go today.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Robbie, thank you once again.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, Kunle, once again, thank you so much.
Thanks, Don. Nice to be on the show. Thank you.
All right. Our viewers, please smash a like on the video. This is Intercontinental Sports TV. This is how far we can go today. We've been able to look at the reports of the managers, their report sheet. Some got A, some got B, some got C, some got D, some got F. And also we review the FA Cup and also the top 10. Our main man, OSIMHEN, that's we also discuss about his smash a like on the video for Victor OSIMHEN, who has made it so clear that he's on top form. All right, viewers, this is how far we can go. Thanks for watching. Please smash a like on the video. Subscribe. You're watching this new. This is Intercontinental Sports TV. The Don is signing out. Once again, bye for now.
Now your touch kinda overwhelms me, but I'm wondering for messing up. Yeah, I'm wondering for messing up. You go so fast, once again I am dancing in your arms. The next one we were kissing in your car, and I am hitting rewind. Make it last 1 minute, we were perfect in your bed. The next one you were local for something I wish I never said. I did.